Welcome back to Handguns, where we've been talking about the 1911, which turns 100 this year.
Happy birthday.
Now, before we left to commercial, we were talking about the two safeties, the grip safety and the thumb safety. And it brings up an interesting point. How are we supposed to carry the gun? I don't know how many times I've heard people say when they see a uniformed officer with carrying cocked and locked, hammer to the rear, oh my gosh, look at that, that's so unsafe. But it's really the way the gun was intended to be carried. It's the way that I carry the gun, right there, round in the chamber, hammer to the rear. There you go, thumb safety engaged. And in my opinion, is the only way really to carry it.
I agree with Aaron. I really think that if you're going to carry a 1911, you ought to carry it cocked and locked.
Going hot.
If you don't, whether you carry it with a hammer down on a loaded chamber or an unloaded chamber, it's going to probably require two hands to get that gun into play, and that's not something you want in a defensive weapon. If you don't feel comfortable carrying a gun with a externally cocked hammer, and I understand that, if you don't feel comfortable doing that, that's fine. Carry something else. There's plenty of other guns out there. But there's nothing wrong with this. This works great.
Absolutely. Well, one other thing that's really come along in the last 10 or 15 years, it's gotten more popular, is the solid guide rod, the one-piece guide rod.
One of the few controversies about the whole design.
Right, versus the original spring and plug design.
Right.
You know, so I tell you what, let's go back to the shop, take a few guns with us, we'll disassemble them, show the folks what we're talking about, and discuss it a little bit.
Excellent.
Okay, here we are. I've got a Nighthawk Custom Falcon 1911 with a standard GI recoil system. So, Jim, take it away.
All right, while he takes that apart, I'll talk about the theory behind the full-length guide rod. In the original system, there's all sorts of room inside the gun where the spring can coil and twist, and theoretically that could cause a jam. The full-length guide rod prevents that. However, on the street, in the real world, nobody's ever really found that it makes much of a difference. I personally prefer the full-length guide rod because it allows you to do this. While he's still messing around with that, I can take the top end off of the gun completely. Don't have to worry about springs flying around, anything like that. But it's more personal preference than it is anything else. Hasn't really been shown to be any difference in reliability.
Right. Either system's a good system. Of course, a guide rod isn't the only thing you can choose to get one way or the other nowadays. You can pretty much get anything how you want it, with a light rail or without a light rail, like a double star, or in a caliber other than 45 ACP, like the Nighthawk Ladyhawk.
Well, whatever flavor of 1911 you choose, it's liable to give you a lifetime of service. It's been around for 100 years, and it's likely going to be around for another 100 years. What say we burn some ammo?
All right, let's do it. Going hot.
Oh, yeah.